Imagine the scene. The arena lights slowly fade to black. Thousands of fans rise to their feet, and the unmistakable opening notes begin to echo around the venue. For years, many believed this moment would never happen again. After the passing of Neil Peart, most fans accepted that Rush had reached the end of its remarkable journey. Yet one unforgettable night in Fort Worth proved that true legends never really disappear. Throughout the history of rock music, very few bands have left an impact as profound as Rush. They were never just another rock trio, they inspired generations of musicians. Anyone who has ever mimed a guitar solo with a tennis racket or drummed along on an imaginary kit has, in one way or another, felt the influence of Rush. Emerging during the 1970s, when soaring guitar solos, thunderous drumming and epic progressive rock compositions dominated the music scene, Rush quickly established themselves as one of the most influential bands of all time. Their music was technically demanding, intellectually ambitious, yet filled with unforgettable melodies. Over more than 5 decades, Geddy Lee, Lifeson and Neil Peart built a legacy that few bands could ever hope to match. Everything changed in January 2020 when Neil Peart passed away following a courageous battle with brain cancer. His death was not simply the loss of one of the greatest drummers in rock history. It felt like the closing chapter of Rush itself. Countless fans believed that without Neil Peart, there could never be another genuine Rush concert. That belief only grew stronger considering the band's final performance had taken place 11 years earlier. For over a decade, there were no signs of a reunion. Fans were left with classic albums, live recordings, and tribute bands keeping the music alive. Then, against all expectations, everything changed. The arrival of German drummer Anika Nilles made what once seemed impossible suddenly become reality. Renowned for her extraordinary technical ability and deep respect for Neil Peart's legacy, Anika joined Geddy Lee and Lifeson for the long-awaited 50-something tour. The announcement instantly became one of the biggest stories in the rock world. Even lifelong fans admitted they never expected to witness Rush performing live again. When the band finally walked onto the stage at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth on Sunday evening, it genuinely felt as though everyone had stepped into a time machine bound for the mid-1970s. For nearly 3 hours, Rush delivered a performance that erased the passage of time. Of course, a few things had changed since their glory days. The familiar smell of cannabis that once drifted through classic rock concerts was noticeably absent. Instead, many audience members, now in their 50s, 60s and beyond, made full use of the 20-minute interval to stretch their legs or visit the toilets. But once the music began, age became completely irrelevant. Much of the attention naturally focused on Anika Nilles. Replacing a musician of Neil Peart's stature is perhaps one of the most daunting challenges any drummer could face. Peart was celebrated for his astonishing technique, flawless precision, and endlessly inventive style. Many believed his role was simply impossible to fill. Yet Anika achieved something extraordinary. If someone had closed their eyes throughout the performance, they might easily have believed Neil Peart himself was behind the drum kit. Her performances on classics such as Headlong Flight, Limelight, and The Spirit of Radio were remarkably faithful, while the iconic drum passages in Tom Sawyer, among the most recognizable in rock history, were delivered with breathtaking confidence and precision. Anika never attempted to steal the spotlight from Geddy Lee or Lifeson, but there were moments when she came remarkably close. Then again, Rush has always been one of those rare bands where the drummer is every bit as captivating as the lead singer or guitarist. The concert felt like a celebration for everyone who grew up during the 1970s and 1980s. It was for those who first learnt guitar through Alex Lifeson's unforgettable riffs and spent countless hours trying to master Neil Peart's famously complex drumming patterns. Rush were never simply a successful band, they inspired an entire generation of musicians. Listening to Alex Lifeson throughout the evening, it became easy to understand why so many legendary guitarists acknowledge Rush as a major influence. Even the innovative playing style that would later become synonymous with Eddie Van Halen seemed to share roots with Lifeson's earlier musical explorations. The same can be said for many of the hard rock and heavy metal bands that dominated the 1980s. Hidden beneath countless guitar riffs and powerful arrangements are unmistakable echoes of Rush's pioneering sound. Yet despite all the technical brilliance on display, this reunion was never about proving anything. From the very beginning, Geddy Lee made it clear that the evening was about celebrating and remembering a dear friend. After opening the concert with the epic Xanadu, Lee addressed the audience with heartfelt sincerity, explaining that the band's return was first and foremost a tribute to Neil Peart. That tribute continued throughout the evening. One of the most emotional moments arrived when the giant video screens showed archive footage of Neil Peart reflecting on how his passion for music first began as a young boy. Across the arena, many fans were visibly moved as they remembered the extraordinary life of a drummer whose influence forever changed modern rock music. The production itself remained refreshingly restrained. There were pyrotechnics and large video displays, but nothing overshadowed the music. Everything served the performance rather than distracting from it. And the true stars of the evening remained Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson. Now both in their early 70s, they played with astonishing energy and passion. Lifeson's guitar work remained every bit as expressive as it was decades ago, while Geddy Lee effortlessly switched between bass guitar, keyboards, and those unmistakable soaring vocals that have defined Rush's sound for generations. The set list was everything fans could have hoped for. It featured many of the band's greatest classics, including the complete 7-part suite from their groundbreaking progressive rock masterpiece, 2112. As the evening drew to a close, Rush returned for an emotional encore, finishing with Finding My Way and Working Man. When the lights finally came up, thousands of fans left the arena wearing enormous smiles. Most were now well into their 50s and 60s, yet for one unforgettable night, they had become teenagers again, enthusiastically playing air guitar and air drums, just as they had decades before. The Fort Worth concert was far more than a reunion. It was proof that truly great music is timeless. Neil Peart's legacy continues to inspire. Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson remain exceptional musicians. And Anika Nilles has demonstrated that honoring a legend is not about imitation. It is about carrying that spirit forward with authenticity and respect. Rush have travelled an extraordinary road over the past 50 years. But if the performance in Fort Worth proved anything, it is that the story of this legendary band is far from over.